I was working 2 jobs, came home early one day, and heard her talking to our neighbor. "He's pathetic," she said. "Thinks extra hours make him a real man. I'm just glad I don't have to pretend I'm attracted to him anymore." The neighbor, Kyler, laughed. "Girl, you can do so much better." She smirked. "Trust me, I already am." My blood ran cold. I silently set down the anniversary dinner I'd bought and left. Yesterday, she started calling non-stop. The backstory look. Guys, I never thought I'd be one of those people airing their relationship drama online, but here I am at 2:37 a.m. in some dingy motel room still trying to process what the hell happened today. 7 years of marriage, gone in 45 seconds. For the past 4 months, I've been busting my butt working 2 jobs. Day shift at a factory, 6 a.m. to 3 p.m., night shift at a warehouse, 6 p.m. to midnight. Then 5 hours of sleep before doing it all. Over again. Why? Because we were saving for a down payment on a house and Valentina was building her small business. It hasn't turned a profit yet, but she always said it was just about to take off. Whatever. I believed in her. I believed in us. Today was our 7th anniversary. I managed to swap shifts so I could be home by 5 p.m. instead of midnight. I wanted to surprise her. I stopped at this local place that makes amazing steaks. The whole meal cost me $300, but hey, it was our anniversary. I got her favorite wine, those chocolate lava cakes she loves, the works. I even bought actual flowers from a real florist, not the grocery store ones I usually grab. I was really putting in the effort, man. The discovery. I pulled up to our apartment complex around 4:45 p.m. and noticed Kyler's car in the guest spot. Nothing weird there. He lives right across the hall, sometimes helps Val with heavy stuff when I'm at work. Good neighbor, always friendly. We've even had beers a few times. Just a normal guy. So I'm walking up the stairs to our 3rd floor apartment, balancing all this food and the flowers, and I hear them through the door. It wasn't closed all the way, just cracked open enough that I could hear everything. That's when I heard it. Val's voice, clear as day. "He's pathetic. Thinks extra hours make him a real man. I'm just glad I don't have to pretend I'm attracted to him anymore." I froze. Literally couldn't move. Then Kyler laughed and said, "Val, you could do so much better." And then this is the part that keeps replaying in my head. She said, "Trust me, I already am." The way she said it. Smug, satisfied, like she was proud of herself. I stood there for maybe 20 seconds, but it felt like 20 years. Part of me wanted to kick the door open and start screaming. Part of me wanted to break down crying right there in the hallway. What I actually did was silently push the door open, set the anniversary dinner down on the counter, placed the flowers next to it, and walked out. They didn't even notice me. They were in the living room, and from where I stood in the kitchen I could see them on the couch, not doing anything, just sitting way too close. Her hand was on his arm. She was looking at him the way she used to look at me. The aftermath. Here's the thing about rage. It can make you ice cold. I didn't say a word. Didn't slam the door. Just quietly pulled it shut and walked back to my car. I drove around for 3 hours, my phone blowing up the whole time. I guess she found the food and realized what happened. 47 missed. Calls by 8 p.m. I finally turned my phone off. For the past 7 years, I've been working my butt off to build a life with someone who thinks I'm a joke. 7 years. My brother Timothy warned me about her. Said she was high maintenance, but I was too stupid to listen. Guys, I've been sleeping 4 hours a night for months so we could afford a house. And meanwhile, she's been laughing at me with the neighbor. After driving aimlessly for hours, I ended up at this motel where I'm writing this. 28 years old and sitting in a motel that charges by the hour because I can't go home. $34 a night, by the way. I'm counting every penny now because I have no idea what comes next. I turned my phone back on around midnight. 26 more missed calls from Valentina. 8 voicemails I can't bring myself to listen. 2. 3 texts from my brother asking if we're still on for basketball this weekend. How is real life still happening when my entire world just collapsed? My best friend Quinn texted asking why Valentina called him frantically, asking if he'd seen me. I sent back, "At a motel. Marriage over. Tell you tomorrow." He replied with, "Holy crap, dude," and offered his couch. I might take him up on that tomorrow. Can't stay in this roach motel forever. I keep thinking about the look on her face when she said, "Trust me, I already am," like she was proud of betraying me. Like making a fool out of me was an accomplishment. 7 years together, and I never knew she could be so cold. The worst part? We have all our money in joint accounts, all of it. Every cent I've been killing myself to earn. Tomorrow I need to figure out how to untangle our finances before she empties everything. Should I call in sick to both jobs? I've never missed a day at either one. How do I even start to deal with this? I found her credit card statement on our shared cloud last week. $300 at this lingerie place. I thought it was for our anniversary. Bet it wasn't for me. Bet Kyler's enjoying it, though. Looking back, there were signs. Her business meetings running late, the new clothes, always texting and putting her phone face down when I walked in. Classic stuff. I was too tired to notice because I was working myself to death to build our future. It's almost 3 a.m. now. In 4 hours, I'm supposed to be at work like nothing happened, like my entire life didn't just get torched. How am I supposed to operate heavy machinery when I can barely remember how to breathe? I keep flipping between wanting to scream at her and never wanting to see her face again, between wanting to forgive everything and wanting to make her life crash and burn like mine just did. The plan, guys. I've spent years working my butt off for someone who thinks I'm pathetic. Now I'm about to show her what a pathetic man with nothing left to lose can really do. Tomorrow, I start with the bank accounts. Then I call a lawyer. Then I figure out exactly how long she's been sleeping with Kyler. Then I don't know. But she's going to learn that those extra hours didn't just make me tired. They made me tough, and they taught me that I can endure a lot more pain than she thinks I can. Update tomorrow after I figure out next steps. Need advice on protecting myself financially ASAP. Anyone been through similar crap? What's the first move? Update. 1. The silence and the strategy. First, a huge thanks to everyone who commented on my original post. Your advice probably saved me from making some serious mistakes in those first critical days. For those just joining, quick recap. 2 weeks ago, I came home early from my second job with an anniversary dinner and overheard my wife Valentina telling our neighbor Kyler I was pathetic for working extra hours and that she was glad she didn't have to pretend to be attracted to me anymore. Then she admitted to already cheating. I left the dinner, checked into a motel, and went dark. Now for the update. It's been 16 days of complete radio silence from my end. 16 days of living on Quinn's couch. 16 days of Valentina absolutely losing her mind trying to find me. And guys, I'm not going to lie. There's a dark satisfaction in watching someone who betrayed you suddenly realize they've lost control of the situation. The financial fallout. First thing I did after posting here was call in sick to both jobs, for the first time ever. Then I hit the bank when they opened at 9 a.m., transferred half of our joint savings, $14,000, into a new account at a different bank. I left enough to cover bills for the month because, despite everything, I'm not trying to get our utilities shut off or miss the rent. The bank lady gave me this concerned look when I explained I needed to separate finances immediately. I must have looked like hell after no sleep and the shock still fresh on my face. Here's the thing about getting financially untangled. It's like pulling a splinter that's been under your skin for years, painful but necessary. I redirected my direct deposits, ordered a new credit card, and froze our joint card. Changed all my passwords, removed her as an authorized user on everything. The whole process took about 3 hours and felt like removing a tumor. By noon that first day, my phone had 64 missed calls from Valentina. I didn't listen to a single voicemail. Instead, I texted back a single message. I heard everything. Don't contact me again. Then I muted her number. Cold maybe, but nowhere near as cold as what she did. Legal steps and family reactions day 2, I met with a lawyer. $400 for the consultation, but worth every penny. He walked me through the divorce process, advised me on what evidence to gather, and helped me understand what a fair settlement might look like. Apparently, in our state, adultery can impact alimony consideration. The lawyer told me to document everything and communicate only through text or email from now on. Paper trail is king. Meanwhile, Valentina started to panic. She called my brother Timothy, my parents, every friend we have in common, giving her version of events, that I disappeared after a misunderstanding and she was worried sick. Timothy, bless him, simply told her that I was safe and taking time to process things. My parents were less diplomatic. Mom told Valentina she always knew she wasn't good enough for me. Dad just hung up on her. They've never really warmed to her. Turns out their instincts were spot. On public humiliation and Kyler's cowardice day 5 was when she showed up at my workplace. I was on break when the receptionist called, saying my wife was in the lobby crying and making a scene. I told them I was dealing with a personal issue and couldn't see her. Security actually had to ask her to leave. Not my proudest moment. Watching my soon-to-be ex being escorted out from behind the break room blinds. But I felt nothing, just empty. Quinn has been a legend through all this. His place is small, just a one-bedroom apartment with a lumpy couch. But he hasn't complained once about me crashing there. He even helped me document the whole situation, taking screenshots of Valentina's increasingly desperate texts and saving the voicemails I still can't bring myself to listen to. Late at night, when I can't sleep, we play that stupid racing game on his console until my eyes get heavy. Simple distractions help keep me sane. Week 2 is when I decided to stop being completely passive. I started subtly letting our mutual friends know what happened. Nothing dramatic, just honest answers when they asked why I wasn't at home. She told Kyler I was pathetic. She's been cheating. I'm taking some space. The ripple effect was immediate. People started treating Valentina differently. No more likes on her photos. Invitations to gatherings mysteriously stopped. Her business partner, Ruth, who's been my friend since college, suddenly needed to reevaluate their collaboration. I didn't tell people to choose sides, but they did anyway. That's the thing about small social circles. News travels fast and people form their own opinions. And apparently the opinion is that cheating on your husband while he works 2 jobs to support your dreams is pretty crappy behavior. Preparations and the reckoning. On day 10, I did something I'm not entirely proud of, but don't regret either. I walked into the store where Kyler works and confronted him. Not a big scene, just approached him when no customers were around and calmly told him I knew everything, had spoken to a lawyer and was gathering evidence for divorce proceedings. His face went white. He started stammering about how it wasn't what I thought and they were just friends. I just smiled and walked out. His panicked text to Valentina started minutes later, according to Quinn's friend who works with her and saw her phone blowing up. The most satisfying part so far? Finding out from mutual friends that Kyler has apparently reconsidered their relationship now that there might be actual consequences. Turns out he's not interested in a girlfriend who comes with divorce drama and no access to her husband's income. Who could have predicted that the guy willing to sleep with his neighbor's wife might not be relationship material? Shocking. Day 13. I went back to our apartment while I knew Valentina would be at her weekly yoga class. Put up small cameras in the common areas of the apartment. Totally legal since I'm still on the lease. Nothing in the bedroom or bathroom, obviously. I'm not a creep. Just needed documentation of who comes and goes and any potential property damage or removal. The place was a mess. Takeout containers everywhere. Clothes piled up. The flowers I'd left had dried up in their vase. Brown petals scattered across the counter like dead butterflies. Found some interesting paperwork, too. Turns out Valentina's business is $32,000 in debt. She's been hiding the financial reality from me for months while I worked myself to exhaustion to support her dreams. Took photos of everything. More ammunition for the lawyer. The dinner that wasn't yesterday, day 15, I finally answered one of her calls. She sounded terrible. Voice raw from crying, words tumbling out in a desperate jumble. She begged for a chance to explain, said she'd do anything to fix things, swore the thing with Kyler was a mistake and meant nothing. I listened silently for 4 minutes and 14 seconds. I timed it. Then I calmly asked if she would be willing to meet for dinner tomorrow to talk. She agreed so fast it was almost sad. So, tomorrow night, after 16 days of silence, I'm going home. Valentina thinks we're having a reconciliation dinner. What she doesn't know is that I've invited her parents, my parents, and our closest friends. I prepared a presentation with screenshots, financial records, and selected highlights from those cameras I installed. The dinner reservation she thinks I've made doesn't exist. Instead, she'll walk into a room full of people ready to hear exactly what kind of person she really is. Quinn says it's too harsh. Timothy thinks it's not harsh enough. I think it's exactly what she deserves. The same public humiliation she was so comfortable inflicting on me behind my back. I keep thinking about something my grandfather used to say. The worst pain isn't having your heart broken. It's realizing you never really knew the person who broke it. 16 days ago, I thought I knew who my wife was. Tomorrow, she'll find out who I've become. We'll update after the reckoning. Wish me luck, bros. Final update. The aftermath and moving forward. Hey, bros. It's been 6 months since that dinner, and I'm finally ready to give you all the final update on this whole situation. For those just joining, quick recap. Caught my wife Valentina trash-talking me to our neighbor Kyler, who she was cheating with. Disappeared for 16 days, then planned a confrontation dinner where she thought we were reconciling. So, about that dinner. I'd spent days planning it, right down to the playlist that would be streaming through the apartment speakers. Had everything timed perfectly, her parents arriving at 6:15 p.m., my parents at 6:20 p.m., our 4 closest friends between 6:25 p.m. and 6:30 p.m. Valentina was supposed to arrive at 7 p.m., thinking it was just the two of us having a heart-to-heart. Quinn helped me set up a simple slideshow on the TV, and I had printouts of bank statements, credit card bills, and screenshots ready to go. The confrontation. Except that's not what happened. At 5:45 p.m., 15 minutes before anyone was supposed. To show up, my phone buzzed. Text from Valentina. I'm coming over now, can't wait another fucking minute. Great. I was still in the bathroom getting ready when I heard her key in the lock. Panicked, I texted everyone to hurry up but knew they wouldn't arrive in time. This was going to be just me and her for at least 20 minutes. Not what I planned. Not what I mentally prepared for. Here's the thing about facing someone who betrayed you. No matter how ready you think you are, you're not. When I walked out of the bathroom and saw her standing there in this blue dress, the one I'd bought her for her birthday last year, holding a bottle of wine and with actual tears in her eyes, something inside me faltered for a second. 7 years of memories don't just disappear overnight. Then she said the most Valentina thing ever. She'd brought the wine because she was certain I wouldn't have anything decent in the house. Even during her fake apology setup, she was taking shots at me. And just like that, my resolve snapped back into place. The next 20 minutes were surreal. She went through this whole performance, crying, apologizing, saying the thing with Kyler meant nothing. It only happened twice. She was just feeling neglected, blah, blah, blah. I just sat on the couch staring at her, not saying a word. Her monologue got more desperate by the minute. She kept trying to touch my arm, my hand. I kept moving away. The unveiling. At 6:17 p.m., the doorbell rang. The look on her face when her parents walked in was priceless. Pure confusion, then alarm. Her dad, Roberto, has always been cool, but her mom, Rhonda, has always been a piece of work. Thinks her daughter could do better than me. Well, Rhonda was about to have her worldview rocked. By 6:32 p.m., everyone had arrived. 9 people crammed into our small living room, all wearing these uncomfortable expressions, like they were at a funeral, which in a way they were, the funeral for my marriage. I stood up and thanked everyone for coming, explained that Valentina and I were having some communication issues that I thought would be best resolved with the support of loved ones. Valentina was frozen on the couch, shooting daggers at me with her eyes. Then I started the slideshow. First slide, screenshot of our bank account showing my regular deposits from 2 jobs for the past 4 months. Second slide, her secret credit card statements showing charges at hotels on days she claimed to be working late. Third slide, screenshots of text exchanges between her and Kyler going back 3 months. Fourth slide, a clip from my hidden camera showing Kyler entering our apartment at 2:13 p.m. on a Tuesday when I was at work. The room was dead silent except for Valentina's mom making this weird, gasping sound. Then I played the audio, just a 10-second clip of what I'd overheard that night. Her calling me pathetic, saying she was glad she didn't have to pretend, to be attracted to me and confirming she was already cheating. Valentina tried to claim the recording was fake, edited, taken out of context. Her dad just stood up, looked at her with the saddest expression I've ever seen, and walked out. Her mom followed, but not before telling Valentina she'd raised her better than this. My own parents sat stone-faced through the whole thing. My mom was clutching my dad's hand so hard her knuckles were white. The truth and the end. Then came the financial bombshell. I revealed to everyone that Valentina's business was $32,000 in debt, that while I was working 16-hour days to support her dreams, she was hemorrhaging money on a failing venture and hiding it from the business partner she'd brought to our wedding as a bridesmaid. I didn't even know how bad it was. Quinn, who'd been silently supporting me from the corner, finally spoke up and confirmed he'd helped me gather all this evidence, that none of it was manipulated or exaggerated. That was when Valentina finally broke down completely. Through ugly sobs, she admitted everything. The affair had been going on for 5 months. She'd been thinking of leaving me anyway. The business was failing, and she'd been too ashamed to tell me. One by one, our friends made awkward excuses and left. My parents hugged me, told me they'd call tomorrow, and headed out. Eventually, it was just me, Valentina, and Quinn. She begged for another chance, said we could go to counseling, said she'd cut off all contact with Kyler. I just handed her the divorce papers my lawyer had prepared and told her she had 48 hours to find somewhere else to stay. Life. After the next few weeks were a blur of logistics and paperwork. Since our lease was up in 2 months anyway, I let her stay with her parents while I kept the apartment. I filed for divorce, citing adultery with evidence attached. Because I had documentation of her hiding debt and the affair, my lawyer was able to negotiate favorable terms. I wouldn't have to pay any alimony. We'd each keep our own debt. The judge actually commended me on my restraint, given the circumstances. Financially, the split was brutal but fair. I kept my personal savings. She kept her failing business. I helped her move her stuff out on a rainy Sunday while her mom supervised to make sure we didn't fight. It was just sad, honestly. 7 years reduced to labeled boxes and trash bags. The aftermath was both better and worse than I expected. Better because friends and family rallied around me in ways I never anticipated. Timothy's wife, Rebecca, invited me for dinner twice a week so I wouldn't just eat frozen burritos alone. Quinn introduced me to his gym buddy who helped me channel my anger into weights instead of self-destruction. My boss gave me some slack when my productivity inevitably dipped. Worse because grief doesn't follow a straight line. Some days I'd be fine, focused on rebuilding. Other days, I'd find one of her hair ties under the couch and have to sit down and stare at the wall for an hour. The nights were the hardest. Lying awake scrolling Reddit at 3 a.m., second-guessing every year of my marriage, wondering if any of it had been real. Valentina and Kyler's fate. As for Valentina, Her carefully curated social media facade crumbled pretty quickly. Without my second income supporting her, she had to move in with her parents at 32 years old. Her business officially folded 8 weeks after our split. According to mutual friends, Kyler blocked her number after she kept showing up at his place drunk, begging for them to make it official. Classic Kyler. Happy to sleep with someone else's wife, but not interested in dealing with the actual mess he helped create. Moving on 3 months post-divorce, I got promoted at my main job, which meant I could finally quit the second one. My sleep schedule is still all kinds of messed up, but I'm working on it. Deleted all the dating apps I impulsively downloaded right after the divorce. Not ready for that yet. Some wounds need more than a Tinder match to heal. 5 months in, I ran into Valentina at the grocery store. It was awkward. Really awkward. She looked terrible. I probably didn't look much better. We did that weird dance of pretending not to see each other until we ended up in the same checkout line. She asked how I was doing. I said, "Fine." She said she was seeing a therapist. I said, "Good for you." Then we both stood there in excruciating silence until it was my turn to pay. Some closure, right? The takeaway. Last week, 6 months since everything imploded, I finally moved out of that apartment with all its ghosts and echoes. Found a smaller place closer to work. Quinn and Timothy helped me move. We drank beers on my new balcony after. And for the first time in half a year, I felt something like peace. So, what's the moral of this sad story, bros? That sometimes the person you trust the most is the one you should trust the least. That revenge feels good, but healing feels better. That working 2 jobs to support someone else's dreams is a sucker's game? Maybe all of the above. Or maybe it's simpler than that. Maybe it's just that life goes on, even when you think it can't possibly continue. The world keeps spinning. The bills keep coming. The sun rises whether you're happily married or newly divorced or somewhere in between. I'm not the same person I was 6 months ago. More cynical, sure, but also more self-aware. I know what I'm worth now. I know what I won't tolerate. And I know that working myself to death for someone else's approval is a one-way ticket to exactly where I was, exhausted, betrayed, and sitting in a motel room wondering what the hell happened to my life.